This is another live radio link-up brought to you by the Government Communications GCIS.
Right, good evening and welcome to the special program brought to you by the Department of Justice as well as the Government Communications and Information System. Libito laka ke Mosotho Stone, Igamalang Mosotho Stone. Thanks to all the community radio stations who are partnering with us in this special broadcast. This is the 25th program of a 26 series of programs that talk about various topics that Department of Justice is involved in, and I believe you have been with us since the first program, and you know that if you need to engage us, you are on 0800 142 446 0800 142 446. It's a toll-free number if you're using your landline. However, we do have our producers as usual who are ready to take your calls if you happen to be taking your if you happen to be using your cell phone. And if you're using your cell phone, do contact us and leave your number. We will definitely call you back. Today it's a full house in the studio because we are talking about rationalization of magisterial district. Basically the demarcation of different constituencies, magistrata, everywhere in South Africa, because that has changed over a period of time. If I'm not mistaken, it has been 2 years since it has been put in place. But let me not be the bearer of good news. I do have a full panel today. I am joined by Ntate Zakaria Makena, who is a Deputy Director for Court Establishment at the National Office, as well as Kinale Ntate Paul Mtimunye, who is a Director, Legal Services. He works for Department of Justice and Constitutional Development in the Mpumalanga region, as well as Kinale Ntate Molekwa Mudise. Ntate Molekwa Mudise is a Director. He is based in the Limpopo Regional Office. He's a Director for Court Operations. And last but not least, I do have Ndate Ronald Mutambi. And Ndate Ronald Mutambi is a magistrate and a head of office, Kotiani Magistrate Court. That will be in Limpopo. I'll ask him one question that is quite special because I know everybody is asking themselves that. Ndate Makena, welcome.
Welcome, Mr. Tom.
And Ndate Ronald, welcome.
Welcome and greetings to the listeners.
Ndate Mtimunye, welcome.
Thank you very much.
All right. Without any waste of time, let's talk about this rationalization. School fees. Rationalization of magisterial districts. What are we talking about here? Can we just put it for somebody who does not normally read a paper, go in a city called Joburg or Cape Town or Durban? Somebody who do nothing high, and then he sees this rationalization. Let's just unpack this thing. Rationalizations of courts.
Ndata Musoto, let me firstly welcome all the listeners and thank you for inviting us on the studio to unpack the process on the rationalization of magisterial districts. Let me starting by saying in short, so that we don't confuse people, that the rationalization of the magisterial district is actually a program that was introduced by the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development with an aim to ensure that everyone has access to justice.
Yes.
We started this program in Gauteng and the Northwest Provinces, which we implemented they started operating on the 1st of December 2014. But in short, the aim of the program is to ensure that each and every person in the country have access to justice. Actually, in terms of ensuring that people don't travel long distances to the courts, they don't use, more money to travel to go to the courts, and also to save time for them, and also in particular for the courts to ensure that service delivery is maximized. Thank you very much.
All right. Now, somebody would think, but courts have been accessible before. What difference is it bringing, basically? Are we looking at also aligning this with the police constituencies, as we know that if you are in Mafike, for instance, if you are in Ramatlabama, you have to go to a police station in Mafike. Give us a bit more on that one.
Yeah, the alignment part of it, we ensure that our magisterial district boundaries are aligned to the municipal boundaries in the first instance. And we ensure that also in terms of the police, they are part of the process. Correctional services are part of the process. Let me say all partners in the JCPS cluster are part of the process, just to ensure that we signage all the partners within a particular municipality. So that when people, coordination of different departments within the JCPS cluster is maximized.
All right. And now, maybe let's talk about the act that's guiding this process of rationalization of magisterial districts. And that Timuya?
No, thank you very much. I think in terms of the legislative framework that is governing the process, it's in terms of the Magistrate Court Act 32 of 1944. And you would actually realize that that particular magistrate court is very old. And it couldn't actually be used, in terms of the new dispensation in its original form. So much that the Magistrate Court Act was amended, of course, and it provides the Minister of Justice to the powers to proclaim a magisterial district upon which courts can then have jurisdiction to preside over. And that is basically the Magistrate Court Act that makes that provision, and also the Constitution. In terms of the Constitutional Amendment Act number 13 of 2010, the minister has the prerogative to proclaim magisterial districts. Mr. Mwachi has indicated that the sole purpose of proclaiming this district is to ensure that communities out there are able to access justice within easy reach. You have asked the question, why this change? What was happening before? In fact, this process, I may say, it's long overdue, because since South Africa obtained its independence, its democracy in 1994, the jurisdictions of the courts, or the magisterial districts of the courts, have not actually changed to align themselves with the new dispensation in terms of the Constitution, wherein provinces were defined to be 9 and national boundaries. So the magisterial district in many times and in various places were still reflecting those old arrangements, where you would find that people within Mpumalanga will access court in Limpopo. People in Northwest will access the court in Mpumalanga. Something that was totally not in line with the constitutional arrangement. So the alignment seeks to the powers that the minister has been given is to ensure that this alignment is properly done according to the constitutional imperatives.
Okay. Shall ucingwa ku 0800 142 446 ungakhuluma ngesizulu, ungathetha mafuna ukuthetha, ukabulabula abahlobulabula bakwamba ngamanda baba batla fela yalo likasiswati likasindebele, because this is a South African program that seeks to make you understand our court as well as our constitution better in terms of our court operations. Today we are talking rationalization of magisterial districts. As you have already heard, Northwest and Gauteng was the launch pad for this project, and now Ntate Modise, maybe you could also share with us the status so far in terms of how successful or how challenging it is in terms of this process unfolding.
Thanks very much, Dan. Let me fortify what my two colleagues have indicated around before coming to your question.
Yes.
That is the issue around your question as to previously courts were accessible. What is all these changes all about? Maybe if one looks at the province of Limpopo, that can give you a very good sense of exactly where the problems was. In terms of the current arrangement, in fact the previous arrangement, our courts were based to offer services on the ethnic background of people. You will have certain courts within the province primarily proclaimed to serve Venda-speaking people.
That's right.
You have certain courts within the province primarily serving Sepedi-speaking people, your former Leboa. So that has never changed until recently. This process seeks to address those imbalances of the past. The whole idea when the minister started with this project was to really get people to have access to justice services.
Yes.
Since Monday, we have witnessed dramatic changes throughout the province. I can give an example of an area called Beggarsford.
Yes.
Beggarsford, if you look at it, all along it was people from Beggarsford. If they needed whatever services that the department is rendering, they had to go to Leidenberg, which is over 40 kilometers away, and they had to leave a court that is nearly 10 kilometers away, primarily because in those days Beggarsford was proclaimed within the former RSA.
Yes.
And your practitioner was proclaimed under the Leboa government. So it was a lot of hardships for people to leave a court next door and travel for about 40 kilos to access justice services. From Monday, people from around Beggarsford, they can now get services nearer to where they live. Yes.
Very, very, very profound indeed. Are you having problem accessing the courts? Have you been to court? What is your experience? And not in terms of what cases you are not actually satisfied about. We are talking about your logistics from home to the courts. We are talking about your easy access in terms of having to say, come at 7 o'clock, the court begins. Are you satisfied? Talk to us about your nearest court. What happens to it based on the fact that you are able to access it or you're having challenge. 0800 142 446, and we are talking about rationalization of courts. This is a new project actually that seeks to bring courts closer to the people, as you are saying, as Ntate Molekwa Mudiso was just saying about the operations in Limpopo. And then Tate Mutambi, talk to us about the Tiani court, and I know it's one of those recent ones actually, and tell us a little bit about, because it's one of the success stories that we're talking about.
Thank you very much.
Okay, sir.
Tiani was proclaimed in 2009. It used to be a branch court, which implies it couldn't cater for all services.
Most definitely.
It will only concentrate mainly on criminal cases, which was not that good, giving an impression as a black area, or area that's mainly predominantly black living in. Yes. That imply we just think like the only thing black people are capable of is crime. There were no other services. Yes, for civil court, they have to travel a distance beyond 50 kilometers to access those other services, maintenance and the like. So we really congratulate the realization of the need of establishing the new court at Tiani. And the rationalization process right now has now taken a step further by the inclusion of a community that was very close to this court, which couldn't access services at Tiani. The community is so close, just about 10 kilometers away from Tiani. But they couldn't access services at Tiani because of what Mr. Muleko has just highlighted, the ethnic barriers.
Yes.
Tiani is a predominantly Tsonga-speaking community, and it was a court that was previously under the Gazankulu government. There's a community nearby, in fact, two communities nearby, Masakona, which was under Venda, and Mamaila, Sinomhopi, and the like, under Lebua.
Yes.
These courts, the court at Tian Kulun assist these people. The community at Mamaila, Sinomhopi, and the like had to go to Sukmekar.
Yes.
Sukmekar about 40 or 50 kilometers away. Similarly, the community at Masakona had to do the same, and under very difficult traveling arrangements.
All right. 0800 142 446. 0800 142 446. Where do you attend court in case that you have problems, either as a victim or as a criminal? What is the nearest police station to the court that you have attended before? We know that there are criminals who came out of jail already and they went through that procedure, and based on the fact that they have been rehabilitated, I'm sure they can talk to us on the show on 0800 142 446. If you are somebody who has actually put in a claim as a complainant, as a plaintiff, how easy was your access to that court, besides you being happy with the case or not? Let's not talk about the contents of the case. Let's talk about the logistics of you having to access that court and having to actually not only matata ube nenkinga zokuthi kusasa awunamali yokugibela uye e court kusasa, and then the next thing they take your case off the roll simply because you are not there. 0800 142 446 in all South African 11 languages, as I've mentioned. Even in Afrikaans you can do that at right now 28 minutes before 7 o'clock. And then again, let's talk about my main challenge in my mind is that there are farm areas, there are rural areas as well, and now we find most of the court setups in small towns, in well-established townships, and in the cities. How does rationalization help that one?
Okay, thank you very much. But before I answer that question, let me just try to explain one aspect of the process.
Yes.
That the process does not only concentrate on magisterial district.
That's right.
We also have an aspect on the High Court's jurisdiction.
Yes, yes.
Remember, in the past, we didn't have a High Court in Limpopo and Mpumalanga.
Yes.
Which means, in essence, it meant that people from those provinces has to travel to Gauteng to access High Court services. But one of the milestones that were achieved by the department, by the minister this year from the 25th, was that the new High Court in Limpopo was completed, the building.
Yes.
And from the 25th of January, which is on Monday, that High Court, the doors of that High Court were opened for the people in the province, that they can access High Court services within their province.
That's right.
And actually the minister proclaimed that court in terms of section 63C of the Superior Court Act. Again, that in Lephalale, just to ensure that the people who are far away from Polokwane, they also have access to High Court services.
Yes.
The minister proclaimed Lephalale as a local seat of the High Court, just to ensure that people that side are covered. Let me come to your question in the sense that the process of rationalization of magisterial district starts with an intense investigation, whereby we ensure that in whatever jurisdiction that we recommend, it almost covers everyone within that particular area. And in terms of courts which are built in towns and cities, and I think that is what we have inherited from the previous government. And as Mr. Mutambi has indicated, we had a program that we started, I think, in 2008, if I'm not wrong,
Yes.
where we identified courts in rural areas which were proclaimed to provide only criminal cases to the communities. I think up to now we dealt with about 23 of those type of courts, the entire country. We ensured that those courts in those rural areas, we upgrade them into sub-district to ensure that they provide a complete set of services that are provided by any other court in towns or cities. So that program is actually continuous. But the challenge that the department have is the issue of infrastructure. But we continue to check where the infrastructure is upgraded. We continue with the program of upgrading those courts, just to ensure that we don't divide people in terms of where you stay in town or in a city, etc. So that's another part of the program.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go to the callers. We have one in Mpumalanga. Descender from Mpumalanga? Defender. Hello, Defender? Okay, we're moving on with Defender, are you there? Okay. Now we're moving to Mpumalanga, to Uppington, that's in the Northern Cape, and Kuli from Uppington. Demand. Do we have callers? My producers, do we have callers? Talk to us, Kuli.
Hi, good evening to you and to your guests there.
Welcome from Uppington in Northern Cape.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
All right.
Thank you. First of all, the rationalization of courts. I'd like to know what exactly this is. I've heard one of the gentlemen, one of your guests, this project or this program started in 2014. Up until this far, what has the department done to educate people about exactly what is happening or how these courts work, and how important is it that people out there actually knows that these courts exist?
Is that all, Kuli?
So that will be all.
Thank you so much. You'll listen on the radio.
There you go.
All right.
Bye.
Do we have Defender on the line? Okay, we're moving on. Defender, do call us back again. It's very important because Renale Ntate Oilongore is representing Mpumalanga and Ntate Mtimuye. I'm sure Defender would like to ask you something that's relating to Mpumalanga because he's quite one of our regular callers actually. Would you like any of the gentlemen to take the Kuli's question? Just to re-emphasize this rationalization. I know Northern Cape is quite one of those provinces that actually are having a challenge because it is a vast province and most of the small towns are very somewhere in the deep Karoo areas, and the main towns basically there's nothing that is beyond 300 kilometers in difference. Please help Kuli.
Thank you very much,
Yes.
Kuli, for the question. But maybe I should indicate that in essence this process started in various phases.
Yes.
We've indicated that it started with Gauteng and Northwest. That was phase 1. Phase 2 is Mpumalanga and Limpopo,
Yes.
which has actually come into effect on the 25th of January.
Yes, yes.
So it goes on. The next phase will be KZN, Free State, and Northern Cape. So our Northern Cape caller can actually stay put that very soon the committees that will be established between the two provinces will be visiting those provinces, the affected areas. Also the awareness campaigns will be driven from those localities to ensure that people who are affected, they get information about what is this rationalization all about, as it was explained earlier on. What impact does it have? Which communities will be affected, and what communities have to say in terms of providing their own inputs, because this is not only about Department of Justice, it's about the Justice family, which is a South African Police Service, the services that are provided by the Department of Social Development, which also impact on the communities at large, the services that are provided by Department of Health. Those organizations are consulted about this process, and communities, of course, at large. There are committees that would actually be established, where and platforms that will be created, whereby every person in that particular province, district, region will be able to provide his or her input about how we feel, in terms of, or how the rationalization, should be, so that he is able to access the services that is provided by the Department of Justice.
All right. Was there, because I know in Limpopo it's already, the process is unfolding, is there any consultation with the actual communities that are affected by this actually?
Thanks very much. The whole process involves serious community consultations.
Yes.
In the province, if I were just to indicate, during our consultative processes, we came across some of the submissions from the communities that we ultimately had to put into the report. I would give an example of we used to have a court called Napuno Magisterial District. Now, Napuno Magisterial District, as I've earlier indicated, it was based on the former Leboa government proclamation. Now, the nearest community that was that was supposed to be served by that court, when we consulted with them, they said to us, look, as a department, we are very much prepared to talk to you on condition that we don't have a problem falling under the new magisterial district, because that community was served by another court. Now they were very much worried with the name Napuno, and they said to us, look, Napuno means the first NA, it's Nari, the second PHU, it's Puti, and the last one, it's Dinoko. Those were the totems of the Sepedi speaking people. And this was Tsonga speaking people. They said, we don't have a problem in getting or being served by the new magisterial district, but we are not comfortable with this name because it does not talk to us. Then we said to the community, what would you prefer, or what is your suggestion? They said, if the magisterial district can be called Linyenye, would be comfortable. And as of today, the court was proclaimed as Linyenye. We took the community's views into account when we did these things.
Batho ba go phalabora le utlwile lona batho ba go Lenyenye le utlwile batho ba Tsanini le utlwile Ntate Modise has put it forward on how community consultation happens, and I believe that people have been taking part quite very positively, and if so, do talk to us. Defender is back and is from Mpumalanga. Defender. Minjani Putom? Mama kimela lo msakazo kuphela nje.
Ngikho kuwo. I'm very far from it, yeah.
Okay. Talk to us, Malik.
Firstly, I would like to appreciate the process, because I don't know High Court here, especially in Bombela.
Oh, yes.
And my question is, you've got an area like White Hazy, whereby the next court is in Hazelview, the other one is in White River. And if you look at that community, it's a very big community. Are they still going to consider maybe building a court next to the police station? Because as you have indicated, you'll find that a person will not be able to access, to be able to go to court. And at the end of the day, it's kind of like a keeping a window, just because of it's not able to access the court.
That's right. Is that all, Defender?
Yeah, that is all.
Okay. Thank you so much. Listen to your radio. Which radio are you listening to, sir?
Kanyamazane Community Radio.
Thank you to Kanyamazane FM. That is in Bombela. And Timui, I believe that one goes more to you.
Akuyiqiniso ngibonge ukudefenda lapha ngombuzo wakhe nama congratulations maqona nokwakhiwa kweMpumalanga High Court, and I can fully agree with his sentiments ukuthi indeed the High Court is being built in Mpumalanga, and it will also be launched in the last quarter of this financial year. That means January 2017. That court will actually start running in full force. Abantu baseMpumalanga ngeke basaya ePretoria ukuthi ba access ama services wabo. Ukhuluma ngendaba yase White River nase Hazelview. Into esizamelela kuyenza eMpumalanga njengaloku lapho kaNyamazane. Ikhotho yalapho kaNyamazane sonke lesikhathi beyikhotho engaphansi kwensikazi kaBhokweni. Abantu bakaNyamazane babagibela ama taxi amabili ukusuka elikazi ukuthi baye kaBhokweni, kodwa manje leyo khotho yakanyamazane seyizoba ngaphansi kwekhotho yaseNaspoti eMbombela, nekhotho yasematsulu emva kukanyamazane nayo sesithethe manje sayisa ngaphansi kwekhotho ngaphansi kophatho lase Nelspruit, meaning abantu base kanyamazane nasematsulu bazokhona manje ukuthi nabasuka ekhotho bakhona ukuya emsebenzini ngoba abantu abanengi abaplayers indawo lezi abasebenza edrobheni lase Nelspruit na ku government complex lapha. Manje lapha eHazelview sine khotho lapha esibiza ukuthi periodical court. Leyo khotho leyo ngokuya kwesikhathi enye yamakhotho esibheke ukuthi nangabe ama case wakhona aya ngokuya ayanda bese siyayongeza ibe ikhotho nayo ezaba nama services wonke ihlale kusuka ngomvulo kuze kube ngolosihlanu. Kodwa okwamanje nje ama cases akhona lapha eHazelview akamanengi kangako ukuthi leyo khotho leyo ingahlala izinsuku zonke njengekhotho yase White River. But angisho ke ukuthi ke enye ikhotho ekade ikude kakhulu nabantu kuyikhotho leya yaseSikhukhuza. Leya khotho bengaphansi kweNelspruit kwe-White River nayo, kodwa leya khotho sesithethe manje sayisa eBushbuckridge. Manje amacala walapha eSikhukhuza abo rhino poaching na wonke lawo macala layo angeke asalethwa 65 kilometers away from where they have happened. They will be brought to the nearer court eBushbuckridge. Ukhulumile umlikwa la ukuthi amakhotho wethu kade are divided according to racial lines. Uzokhumbula futhi nale kanyamazane nematsulu ukuze iye kaBhokweni ukuthi kaBhokweni bengaphansi kwekangane government. So manje nakufika isikhathi sokuthi rationalize sabona nje ukuthi abantu ngeke basa divide along their racial lines. They've got to be divided according to their proximity to access justice with ease, and that's the reason why we had to rationalize, even looking at the distances people travel to and fro the court and bring them closer to where they would actually be able to access justice.
That's right. Dade Mutambi, before we go to the callers, Mararang will talk to you just now, and Katlego from Mafikeng will talk to you just now. But before we forget about this one, the language issue seems to be something that keeps cropping up. And the demarcations basically were mainly based on that as well as other things that we are talking about in terms of apartheid. But now, to address the language issue in terms of rationalization, particularly I'm asking Tatem Tambi because you are based in a magistrate court where there is a diverse community, and now in most cases we work with translators in court and all different people who actually take care of the language issue. Now, in terms of rationalization, particularly where you operate in Tate Mutambi, what is, are there any challenges or is there any success in terms of dealing with the language issues, particularly when the court is now in operation, where now all of a sudden, because we are trying to get rid of that barrier and taking everybody all at the same time. One day you're holding a case, Gazipedi. The other day you're holding a case, Kashitsonga. And the other day, the next day, you're holding the case Kashivenda. Take us through that. Yeah, and also aligning it to rationalization, sir.
Thank you very much. The Department of Justice, of course, has a project, the Indigenous Language Project.
Yes.
Yes, all languages are important in South Africa and are treated as equal. We have this project. In fact, in my court, we have a target that at least we got to do one case in vernacular, yeah, in indigenous language, where it poses no problem where the accused is Tsonga speaking, for example. The complainant, on the other hand, is also Tsonga speaking. I'm also Tsonga speaking.
Yes.
The prosecutor is also Tsonga speaking.
That's right.
Then why can't we proceed in Xitsonga?
Exactly.
Why can't we proceed in Xitsonga?
Yes.
So we are able to proceed.
I am so glad. I'm very happy with that. All right.
We do not have any other challenges as a result of this. I will say there is a ethnic harmony in the area of Tiani. 3 ethnic groups, but there are no problems at all.
No one is lost in translation.
No one is lost in. Everyone is at home.
Okay, let's go to Northern Cape again. We are in Uppington with Mararang. Mararang Dumelara. Mararang? Arnale Mararang. We move on to Mafike. Mafike Katleho?
Hello, sir.
Legandad.
I get there.
All right. Do you know what is sub judice, Gastwan? Do you know what is sub judice in Setswana?
No.
Okay, we'll find out next time. Talk to us, my brother.
Just to understand one thing. I was in court for my cousin.
Yes.
So I was so disappointed. The lawyer, the justice, but like the court was running in that time, so they were using like by user phone to chat. So as the audience, now we can see how the chat. They are using like WhatsApp chat.
There was a conversation between who and who?
It was the justice and the lawyers.
Okay.
Yeah, they were both on phone chatting, but the long man or the prosecutor was busy talking, you see. Yeah, so as the audience is asked, we can see her, but Baba busy ka phone. So after her barely we must go for a break. So when we go into a break, we saw them negotiate. So on the bail, our bail money. So when we went to take that bail money, so the lawyer to said, we raise your court, so there's no court. So we are asking at least in this 1,000 if you can give 3 of us 200 inside the court. Yeah, it was a break time. So we got disappointed. And you know what, just to understand how is this operating while the court is busy running and the justice and the lawyer are busy chatting. So yes, one
okay. So what was your concern or maybe your comment around that?
Yes, my concern is like the justice and the lawyer, maybe they can go on deal, understand each other and or negotiate what they can do or decide both they can make their own plan. Even some of the audience, they were complaining.
Yes.
and the court took time to end. So when they took around 12 o'clock, it went to a break time. We find them outside, they were talking, 3 of them. Then, but they told us for me, erase that case, so mobile luna, our part 200, and they follow us, so, yes.
Okay. Will you be able to listen to radio? Is there any follow-up question to Katleho, if maybe before I release him?
No,
Just hang on, Katleho. Just hang on.
Just to check with the caller if he was represented in court, or his cousin was represented, and what was the role of his representative? Yeah, in
Katleho, you had that one?
Yes, my cousin was represented in the court. He was arrested actually, so we went to watch him on the court. So he was arrested by the CID because he was not attending the court from long time.
So unanale lawyer Abrek?
Unanale lawyer legal aid.
Okay, yeah, legal aid.
Yeah.
Was he part of the conversation, or did he explain to you what is happening with the conversation?
Oh, the lawyer?
Yes.
No, the lawyer didn't explain to us nothing. So they were busy on chatting on phone, and my cousin was not the part on the part of the conversation.
So you didn't know anything in terms of the procedure?
Yes, unless I did it.
Okay. Listen to your radio, my brother, and then let's hear what the response is, all right?
Okay, no, thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, here's Katleho. It might not be about rationalization, but I feel it's quite very important that Mutambi, maybe if you can help us with that one.
Thank you. As I listened to him, I realized this could be a very serious indictment on the criminal justice system. As a legal practitioner, that's a profession that demands the highest integrity. There are ethics that should be adhered to strictly so. And all these practitioners, is it a lawyer, an attorney, an advocate? They belong to professional associations. Prosecutors also, they are under the National Prosecuting Authority. Yes, we shouldn't allow this kind of a slide, if ever, is taking place like it's reported here. Such incidents should be reported to the professional associations, that's the Law Society, yes. If it's an attorney involved, the Bar Council if it's an advocate, National Prosecuting Authority if it's a prosecutor. Nobody's left out, even the bench ourselves. As the bench, we are expected to comply and to adhere to a very strict code of conduct. There is the Magistrate Commission in case of the district courts, that's the lower courts, and there is also the Judicial Services Commission in respect of the high courts. Such incidents can't be left unchallenged.
Yes, most definitely.
Thank you.
And also go to www.doj.gov.za in Tatemakena. There is quite a lot of information that will direct you to different institutions that will be able to help you with different complaints that you have. Because so far, it's been quite a very good law maintenance kind of tool through the DOJ, through the NPA, through various sectors within the law fraternity. South Africa is one of those successful models as compared to other countries in Africa, and we are actually still setting the trend. And let's not give up hope. Our main aim in South Africa is, if we do not complain about the real issues that are affecting us, we will not be able to address them. Please take part. You can also take part now on 0800 142 446. In the studio tonight, we are having Tate Moagi Makena, who is the Deputy Director and is responsible for court establishment at the National Office. And then also Renale Tate Paul Mtimunya, he's from Mpumalanga Regional. He's a director responsible for legal services and is working with the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development. As well as Renale Tate Mwelekwa Mudise is also a director of court operations based in Limpopo province, just north from Pretoria. In case you are in Beaufort West, you don't know where Limpopo is. It's just north of Gauteng. All right. And then Ronald Mutambi. I'm still going to ask him that question when we finish, but he is a magistrate responsible for the Tiani Magistrate Court, and he's also the head of office over there, as he has explained that it's quite one of those new ones that were converted back in 2009, and it's quite doing a magnificent and important job within the Tiani area as well as surrounding areas. And now let's move to Mafike Renali Lydia, who wants to talk to us. Lydia?
Legame, brother.
Retswile legame. Bontle boso phep.
Amen. Abutoka na tsenga se botsang fela sa ntlha ke le ba godimo a mphompa this opportunity. So ke fona ke le Mabatho FM mo Mafikeng.
Re le bogela Mabatho FM.
Amen. So nana ke re abutoka ne ke re ke le ba ha hore as South Africans we are free hore khono a ke re thusane as our country our country must go forward, especially more Department of Justice.
Amen. Amen.
So now we get up na kile one so like keep up keep working on so one in our country so one serious like especially for the more department that not the government, especially like the Department of Justice we cannot have because it deal like the cases massive. So my next suggestion is this year is 2016. Look at it, we can sit down and think, because how to say our country like now when it comes to the Department of Justice, yes, there are so many things I believe like that, but at the end of the day we have to work too much, because as I realize our country of South Africa is a Christian country, and then so far let us go back to the roots where because always I went to so many meetings, especially some South Africa, but I've never heard one day our where our country is putting God, but this is really serious, because without God our country will never go anywhere, my brother. Even Department of Justice, as I'm speaking now, and next thing here the same thing, then our solution that is why we need God. Why I'm saying like that, because we in South Africa we are dealing with the things only physically, but what about spiritually? We have to sit down in South Africa, because like that is why because what about what God is saying to us? What about our spiritual life as South Africa? Because one needs to like now, you know why? It's because of receiving religion. What about God? Because we need God in South Africa. Is true. The Christianity, our president, we have got us. But where is God there? Where is God? We need God South Africa. Our country must change. Even the Department of Justice, we need but to buy carrying holiday. Then they are spiritual men and women of God. But so because I believe God will make a way. But since religion, then my brother, honestly, we are not going anywhere until we start down and we then every day, everywhere in our country.
Okay. Amen. Listen to the radio, man. All right. Just kata what she is actually, which is quite very important. However, South Africa has a diverse spiritual components. We have Hindu, we have Islam, we have, as much as we might be told by the researchers that Christians are more than any other constituency of religion anywhere else. However, I believe our constitution is well established and Tate Makena, to actually accommodate everyone, irrespective of their creed, color, culture, tradition, and all that stuff.
Yeah, look, I don't want to go much into religious issues.
Yeah,
because it's a diverse.
Because I'm really curious as well to say, everywhere when they inaugurate the president, there will be all those spiritual leaders to come and pray. Does that happen in court? That's for another day. That's for another day. Yes, that's for another day. It's just a curiosity thing, because House Media actually got me to think, to say, I'm in court before we proceed, because I believe everybody prays towards someone, but I believe the criminal is actually holding a very thin prayer to say Mudimuntu Sebasantuar. All right, that's the only person who probably prays in there. Anyway, we have Joy from Joburg. Joy.
Hello.
Joy, how are you doing?
I'm good myself.
It's all good.
Alright. I have a question, right?
Yes, talk to us about your question.
Okay. I went for I went to the divorce court in town in Joburg, right? And then after that you have to go for your maintenance court. And then I was told that I need to go to either Randburg with a working sentence or go to.
Where are you based in Joburg, by the way, so that we are able to put your question in context?
Okay. I stay in Soweto, but then I work in Sandton.
I see.
And obviously the courts are open during working hours.
Oh, I
right?
see.
Yeah. So the plan was, okay, so I took like the morning off, and then I went to Randburg, and I got to Randburg, and they told me that no, I can't, I have to go to Cape Town, I think. And then I went to Cape Town, they sent me to Protea, and it was just a long day.
So you were basically sent from pillar to post?
Yes.
Okay.
But then I think the ladies in Randburg, they said no, I think it's they can't take me based on where I work, you know what I mean? So it has to be where you stay. So I just want to clear that. Can you not go next to your workplace? Does it have to be next to where you stay?
Okay. Is that all that you have, Joy?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
I'm saying, is that all that you pose in tonight? Is that everything that you wanted to say today?
Yes, that's all.
Okay. Thank you so much, and you can listen to your radio for your response, all right?
Okay, thank you.
All right. Tate Makena?
Yeah, look, I understand Joy's frustration, but in terms of the act, when the minister established a magisterial district or a sub-district,
yes,
it also go on to say he must define the area of jurisdiction. Why is he defining the area of jurisdiction? For the fact that we don't want people to get engaged in forum shopping. You know?
Yeah.
You will just choose any other court, do you understand?
Yes,
and I think that is the reason why she was sent back to say, if you are from Soweto, go to the Soweto court. Because that Soweto court is defined, its area of jurisdiction is defined to serve a particular area within its jurisdiction.
Yeah, which also raises an important question. Because basically sometimes we are from different provinces. We are registered with our physical addresses from those places. Now here I am, I start working in Joburg, and I haven't had any proof of payment. I'm only like 3 weeks. Something happens here, and now I need to do something, and then they say, what's your address? The first address I remember is back home. What happens in that instance? Because obviously the address is what determines where you need to go, isn't it? And that Mudisa?
Thanks very much. I think we need to differentiate here. If I happen to be a resident in Limpopo, far in the furthest north called Palale, then I visit Pretoria, I decide to go to one of the credit providers in Pretoria. I take out a loan. I don't honor my obligations. I am sued. I must travel from Lephalale to come and attend the court here. That is where the cause of action arose. That is where the similarly, if you go to the criminal setup, you can only be tried where the crime was committed. I can come from in the furthest area, Chikonelo, deep in Venda.
Yes.
And I happen to go to Cape Town. Then in the process of being in Cape Town, I engage myself into illegal activities. If I'm arrested there or I commit a crime there, I rush back home. Should it be found that it was me who committed that crime, once I'm subpoenaed or I'm arrested, I must go and appear where the crime was committed. Now, with maintenance, you have to look at where the child is resident. If the child is resident, with the complainant being the mother of the child, is here in Pretoria, and I am in Limpopo, and she institute a maintenance complaint, it means myself, if I'm to be subpoenaed, I must come here. So that is how the whole issue of jurisdiction comes into the picture.
Okay.
Maybe I can add.
Yes, sir.
She indicated that she actually went for a divorce.
Yes, sir.
And apparently after the divorce, then he was sent to a court. And maybe I should explain that the issue of jurisdiction here, because the divorce jurisdiction is with the regional court.
Right.
Yeah, we call it the regional court civil jurisdiction. And then those jurisdictions differ from the magistrate court jurisdiction. If maintenance was part of the divorce proceedings, they would have confirmed them there. But I think when she started with her divorce proceedings, she excluded maintenance. That's why when then she wanted maintenance, she was then referred to the district court to open up a new file. And now I can indicate that in her situation, because now she works in Sandton, then she found Randburg to be the nearest court.
That's right.
Yes. So the Department of Justice is actually looking into amending the Maintenance Act to include the jurisdiction of the employment, where the person works, where the person resides, where the child is residing.
That's right.
So much that you are able to choose a jurisdiction of these three components. Whether you choose the jurisdiction of the child who is in Soweto with a granny, or the jurisdiction of Randburg because of your proximity in terms of your work being in Sandton, or where the respondent is actually working. Maybe the respondent might be in Pretoria. That means you would actually be able to access courts which you choose under these three jurisdictions. But in her instance, it was because he initiated her divorce at the regional court, which was finalized. Therefore, she was then told that go to the magistrate court where you reside to open up a maintenance case.
That's right. Well, we have run out of time. So much to say, so much to question, so much. There's somebody who likes saying there are more questions than answers. But we only have 1 hour. Thank you so much, Ntate Makena. Thank you so much, Ntate Mutambi. Thank you so much, Ntate Mutimuye and Ntate Mudise. Thank you so much for joining us and to share a bit of light. And I believe our communities are actually being taken forward in terms of comprehending some of the components that the courts are using, particularly the rationalization of courts. And then also go to the website if you want to see how the courts were rationalized. Go to the website www.doj.gov.za www.doj.gov.za. There are maps that are identifying different courts where you can go for what area where you are residing. From me, Musoto Stone, It's been a very informative day, and let's take South Africa forward. Good night. Thank you, sir.